Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Digital to Dice podcast. I am Dave.
I'm Ron.
And Ron, today we got episode 230.
The one where I don't have anything.
So we'll call 230 the Dentist podcast?
You know, I was thinking of that 230, ha, 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 ha. Or, you know, if you're listening now, wait till tomorrow at 2:30, and you can listen to 2:30 at 2:30.
That's right. And there's no February 30th, right? So you can't listen on 2:30 on 2:30.
That's right. You can't listen on. I have seen the Facebook meme, however, when the gallon of milk is dated for 1548. You seen that?
No.
They put the wrong year on there, and so it's I don't know what it is. So you can go back and drink your glass of milk from when Henry VIII was king.
You know, isn't that what Clark Griswold did? He did food preservatives, and in one of the shows, I think it was Christmas Vacation or European Vacation. They say he pulled out some milk, and he goes, "This milk's been sitting in storage for 10 years without preservatives." And he tried it. He's like, "Oh, this is gross." Yeah, that's what he did.
I did not know that.
And now you know that.
Wow, I've learned something.
Anyway, hey, ways to get a hold of us, digitaltodice.com, digitaltodice.com is the website. 978-751-DICE is the text line. digitaltodice@yahoo.com is the email. And over on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/digitaltodice. And if you'd like to be a Patreon supporter of the show, over on patreon.com/digitaltodice. And again, we will be reading off some answers to a question that Ron put out, and I put out too about a week or so ago, and we always start with our Patreon comments first, so another little perk of supporting the show. So, I don't know how long it's been since we did a show, but just kind of
a couple of weeks between your wife's issues and the never-ending building construction, which has gone to a halt.
Yeah, that's what kind of stinks is you're over there trying to figure out when you're going to record and do things, and you can't do it when they're working, but you never know when they're going to work.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a couple things. I got a new wheelchair since we've been on last. Let's start with that.
Nice.
It cost the price of a Ford F-150.
Well, you like to go in style. Let's just say that. You know what I mean?
It has a touch screen and lights and a speedometer and an odometer, but there's no app for DoorDash. I'm disappointed.
Does it have one of those horns that goes?
There is a horn. I don't know how to activate it.
Oh, that'd be great.
That would be kind of scary to me.
How far can you go? Could you come down and visit me or what? I mean, does it?
No, not without charging a few times.
Oh,
I've driven 13 miles in the first 2 weeks,
and that's cool.
With the first week being with the joystick kind of being in the wrong spot, so we got that fixed on Monday, and then we've been pretty much here, there, and everywhere. My wife's birthday was the 4th, so we did some stuff with that, and so between trying to adjust to the new chair and this fire alarm construction that seems to be going on slightly on the edge of forever, it's been hard because I've been wanting to stream and stuff. Well, not this week, but last week wanting to stream, and I did a ball game a few weeks ago, and they were drilling in the middle of that, and it literally sounded like
yeah, you can hear it.
When you go under back in the days of AM radio, you'd go under a bridge.
Okay.
That's what that sounded like.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to listen to the ball game or whatever. So yes. So between the two.
Yeah, and then over here, so as you know, you've probably followed along, my wife had pretty serious surgery, and, that was on Monday, and they sent her home Friday. I'm like, what are you doing? It's been 4 days. This is not the type of surgery you just kick people out of the hospital, And so she's home, and I'm trying to take care of her. And, one thing you don't consider is that when half of the crew is down and out, you got to pick up the slack for it.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not complaining or anything like that, but it's just like all the little things that she used to do, like feeding the dogs and, taking care of this and taking care of that. Now I'm doing all that on top of my stuff around the house, right, and then my full-time job. So it's been tough. I mean, it's tough. She's in so much pain right now. It's ridiculous. I think yesterday was the first day, because she's been home a week now, that she actually looked okay. Like, I could look at her and say, wow, looks like the lights are on and you're not, like, just writhing in pain, you know. And so she was able to get up and walk around a little bit. So I was pretty happy about that. But it's still, you know, I gotta pick up the dog and put the dog on the bed, and the dog will jump down. I gotta pick it up again. It's like I can't play this game yet, because she's not supposed to even pick up this little 7-pound dog, you know. So it's just been tough around here with that. So needless to say, it's just been exhausting, mentally and physically over here. Yeah. And then, as if I needed anything else to happen over here, I'm sitting there, was it Monday night? No wind, no breeze, perfectly calm out, and I hear a thud in the backyard, and a tree fell from the woods, through my fence, and crashed into my yard. I just didn't need that at this point in my life. No. So luckily, my neighbor come over, and he's a young dude. He's pretty jacked, and he's like, he cut the tree off so we could put the fence back up, so at least the coyotes can't get in the yard. Mm-hmm. And then I was able to I went out the next morning, picked up a chain. I got an electric chainsaw at Lowe's or something, and I just cut it all up. And if you've ever had to remove a tree from your yard, if you've ever taken down a tree in your life, the one thing that you don't consider, when you start cutting it up, you cut it up in like 4-foot sections, you got to move that sucker. And you can't lift a 4-foot section of a tree, not if it's like, 18 inches around. You just can't do that.
I can honestly say I've never done that.
You've never done that, but people out there listening to us, if you've ever,
my dad when he was alive, he loved that stuff.
Yeah, you take down trees, whether it's at a friend's house or your house, or wherever it is, at the camp you go to, whatever it is. I know when I was younger, that's my uncle would always do that at his house, whatever. We try to help him out, but jeebus, yeah, it's like you cut those things up, and you got to cut them up in like 1 to 2 foot slices. Like you're cutting up like a sausage or something. You have to cut them thin enough so you can carry them and get rid of them. If you cut them too big, you can't move them. They're too heavy.
You don't do anything with wood stoves or anything, so it's not like you could just keep the wood for.
Yeah, no, it went right back to the woods where it fell. That's where I put it. But that was just me out there. I'm getting to be an old man out there. I got 2 bad shoulders. I can't lift anything, and here I am cutting it up and moving it out. So that set me back a couple of days. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
I was laying in bed for a couple of days, sore from that. So fun times over here. So anyway, that just gets you caught up on some things with us. So between Ron's projects, and he's got his new chair, and my wife's surgery and dealing with that, and trees crashing in the yard, it's been a fun time. I did, though, as we want to turn the corner here, let me play the segue here. As we get into, by the way, today's show, as we didn't already mention it, we're going to be reading responses to a question from all you out there on Facebook and Discord and the whole bit. So we got a ton of things to get to with that. But real quick, I was able to finally play something. I think I went a week without playing anything. I think the last thing I played was that when me and you played that Dice Conquest game, which was a lot of fun. It was
like last Sunday night or whatever it was, right?
That game was fun. Yeah, we played that live. It's just kind of like a Dungeons and Dragons light type of game where you're just rolling dice and trying to, kill the monsters with your dice rolls.
A more fair version of One Deck Dungeon.
Yeah, something like that. If the monster has 19 points, you got to roll all these dice and combine 19 to kill them and stuff like that. It's a little more involved than that, but it still was super, super fun. And so I finally was able to, the other night, she was in bed, sleeping, everything was okay, and I played some APBA baseball. My 79 season. I want to wrap that up. I'm in September right now, and so I took out the APBA baseball, and I had the Orioles at the Red Sox. And how cool was this run? Red Sox are losing 2-0, bottom of the 6th, can't get anything going. They squeak across the run, load the bases, and Kyle Yastrzemski comes up, and I think he hits my very first APBA grand slam.
That's awesome.
Yep. I was streaming live on YouTube, and it was kind of cool. So I'm like, here's Yaz, and I rolled the 66 right on top of his card for everybody to see. And only 2 people accused me of cheating.
Only 2?
Yeah, only 2. Oh, it's P-Jet and one other guy. P-Jet always accused me of cheating, But, yeah, so I hit the grand slam. The Sox went on to win. That was fun. And then later on in the night...
P-Jet accused you of cheating?
Yeah.
Well, maybe you should put a little more mustard on that hot dog then.
No hot dog.
So, as Yastrzemski dances around the bases. It's a food reference, and he doesn't like food
he
reference.
hates food references. Yeah, okay. So we're going to put some mustard on that hot dog for PJ, yeah. And then later on, I bought a new
Did you see where the winner of the Nathan's contest wolfed down 58 hot dogs?
Oh, man, it's nuts.
And then some dude guzzled down a gallon of lemonade in 22 seconds?
That is crazy. We watch a lot of the professional food eaters. When we sit down and have dinner, we watch just 3 or 4 people we watch, and they just chow down tons of food. I don't know why. It's just our routine right now. But yeah, when I see that stuff, it's like gross how much they eat. It really is. It's like, oh my gosh, it's nuts.
Anyway, so you were playing. You played that hockey last night.
Yeah, so I pulled out Apple Hockey. I bought a new San Diego Mariners WHA T-shirt. It was on sale. I don't know how much they were. But there was a hockey site that had a sale a couple weeks ago, so I picked up Cincinnati Stingers and San Diego Mariners T-shirts. So I had to play the Mariners, so I had them play Gordie Howe and the Houston Aeros, and we had a fun night playing Apple Hockey last night. So at least I get in some gaming, which has been severely lacking here over, as I take care of some things around here. I'm hoping now that she seems to be on the mend, that I won't have to kind of watch her as much and make sure that things are okay and checking on her and so if that gets better, then I can get back to playing some games. But so that's where I've been, folks. In case you haven't followed along, so that's why we haven't recorded a podcast. That's why I haven't really done anything on YouTube. I did a couple of quick chats from time to time to get everybody caught up. But I just been exhausted dealing with everything around here. So that's what I've been playing. Ron, quickly, what have you been playing?
Let's see. My 93 Strat replay is midweek for the second week of the season. Played a couple of those. I bought on the Steam sale EA Sports PGA Tour Golf.
Oh, nice.
Regularly $90.
Oh, wow.
For the deluxe edition, okay? On sale for $13.
Some of those sales are like 80-90% off.
Yeah. So I uploaded a round where I shot 92 at Augusta.
Oh, nice.
Done in the career mode, and I won the U.S. Amateur, and then didn't make the cut on the next to the Masters and the U.S. Open. Let me tell you, the thing with console golf is we all think it's easy. I played the heck out of Jack Nicklaus in the 90s and the 2000s, and we've all played Links and Golden Tee after a couple drinks. You're not doing that in this game with the greens at Augusta.
Oh, that's too bad.
I mean, you might be able to if you train yourself to do that. So I made the cut at the Corn Ferry Tour Q School. Some gorgeous courses. Absolutely gorgeous. They really did a tremendous job. And there's 39 courses that came with the deluxe edition. I think there's 30 with the regular and 39 with the deluxe. And so, including a lot of the major courses. So, and there's the clunker I'm playing right now, which is out in the middle of the desert with 130-foot rises and drops. Anyway, loving that. You can actually play as Jack Nicklaus, not in the career mode. But Nicholas has signed off on the game, and he's got perfect skills. And
nice.
It's mid-70s version of Jack, and Scotty Scheffler is in the game. And so the Steam sale's got another 4 days to run or whatever it is. And so picked up that, and I picked up some non-sports games as well. Workers and Revolutions.
I've heard of that one, yeah.
I'm looking. I've been watching videos of that all day. Re-Entry, which is the you get a correct version of the Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo things. You can do all those 60 space missions. You can flip all the switches you want and run around the moon eventually. So pick those two up along with a 2 Point Hospital and 2 Point Campus.
They look fun. I was looking at those myself.
That's a beer and pizza type game, and the pair of those I think were $11.
I didn't spend much. I probably spent $30. Probably got like 7 or 8 or 9 games. I picked up some bundles of things, $2 here. I've been kind of striking out though. The games I've been playing, I haven't really enjoyed them as much as I thought I would. So I'm kind of bummed out about that.
I'll take another look to see. But so that's pretty much what I've been doing. I mean, this is supposed to be my vacation week, and again, was supposed to stream for my 88 replay, which is now into August, but got home Tuesday, said I was going to work, and all this hardware is by our door.
Yeah, it looked like they were getting ready to do the construction.
It's like, okay, well, then I'm not going to do this. I'm supposed to be on vacation anyway. And so Sunday night at 7, I get to do that. And yeah, so here we are 4 days later, and it's still sitting there on the floor.
Yeah. Oh, it's over the 4th. They weren't going to do
well, no,
work,
I understand. I mean, it's weird. Who wants to go back to work for one day?
Yeah, yeah.
But don't lay the stuff out if you're not intending to get to it for a week.
Yeah, I hear you saying that too.
So
getting everybody ready for the construction, and then it doesn't happen,
Yeah. So.
But, oh well. So anyway, so that's what's been going on with us over the last little bit. Hopefully things will get back to normal with one of us or both of us, and we'll get back to regular weekly shows and then broadcasts on YouTube like we normally do. Because
we have our 5th anniversary in about 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah. I got some emails to send out for that. So we wrap up wrapping up year 5? Starting year 6?
Starting year 6.
Yeah, that's in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I gotta make some notes on that. Good thing you said. I'm gonna make a note right now.
You do that. You do that.
To email some people about the...
He's auditioning, for new permanent hosts because I was only supposed to do a couple of these and 230 episodes later.
I know. It's kind of like, you go out on a date. It kind of works. You're not the one for me, but we can still hang out. And then 5 years later, you're still dating,
Yeah. Every once in a while. I mean, Sarah and I never had a conversation about her moving in. She just did. And I didn't really mind that. And every once in a while, I'll pull out, it may be time for us to talk about whether or not you should be moving in or not. And then she'll remind me that we've been married for X amount of years, and it's kind of too late for that.
Hey, let me ask you something.
Sure.
So I was watching some golf this morning. It's Thursday morning golf. I don't know what was playing.
Oh, so somewhere in Europe.
Maybe it was the Golf Channel this morning, like 10 or 11 o'clock, something like that. And I could have sworn this guy teed off or he putted out, whatever he did. And so he hands his club back to the caddy, and they're walking either down to the fairway or to the next tee. And so they're filming these guys. I could have sworn this guy took a cigarette out and put it in his mouth. Are they allowed to smoke during the game? Oh, you can?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that because I thought it was so weird. It's like... they showed it, and then they cut away to something. I was like, did that guy really put a cigarette in his mouth? He's walking down, lighting up. Really?
At the Women's Open, there was a woman smoking while playing, and she got a lot of memes. Charlie Hull, I believe her name is. She was huffing and puffing as she was playing around.
I didn't know if that was allowed or not.
When John Daly broke through and won the PGA, of course this was back in '91, so 30 some odd years ago. He was drinking a beer playing 18.
Really?
Yeah. The CBS people caught him with a cup. I mean, I don't think there is anything against doing that. Obviously, these people are supposedly athletes in that, but no, you can do as many lung darts and beers.
Wow.
Maybe I'm sure that's discouraged because
it's just the optics of it. Yeah,
it's the optics of it. But no, I don't believe that is that you can do that. Whether you should or not is another story.
When I was younger and full of anxiety, before I played ice hockey, I would have a couple of beers in a locker room, and it would settle me down, and I would play better. If you can believe it, because I wasn't so wound up about the game. It's just a beer league game. Excuse me, but I was just like, I would get wound up about it. I just was, it was a big deal. And I would have a couple, and I would just play so much better, play so relaxed,
You would read about football players who would throw up before a game.
Oh, yeah.
Just a regular season game, and that would sell their nerves. So, but yeah, to get back to that, yeah, you can eat. There's no restrictions on what you can consume as long as it's legal, I would imagine. So obviously no one is going to be walking up the 18th fairway with a joint in their hand. But
it depends what state, right? Depends what state, though.
Well, that's true.
If you're in Colorado, they're all toking up,
In Vermont, we have the, anyway, but no, I mean, you see players eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or power bars or that.
Right.
I've seen, Gail Monfils tennis player, eccentric French tennis player. Wildly entertaining, and if he could have ever gotten it all together, he was so much fun to watch. Remember watching one year at the U.S. Open, and he asked for a Coke, and they brought him out a Coke, and he sat there on the change. They're so careful about how much sugar and how much of this and vitamin infused this and that. He's sitting there drinking a Coke on a changeover, and then proceeded to win the match. He knew exactly what he wanted. The sugar and the caffeine, and because it was a night match and a hot night in New York, and he won. So yes, I mean it's again maybe not the best optics in the world.
I just thought it was interesting because I had never seen that. So yeah, no. Anyway, okay, all right. So let's get on to our topic of the day.
All right.
Alrighty, so the question we threw out, it's something similar to what we had asked before. It's how do you find time to game? What is your situation that allows you to game? It's kind of what we were going at, because we all have our certain situations here, and it's just kind of ironic that mine has taken a turn 180 degrees, where I had a lot of gaming time, and now I don't have much at all because of the situation I'm in, which, I'm hoping will get better and for everybody. Sure. Yeah. But I mean, it's just kind of funny that we had asked this question a couple weeks ago, and unbeknownst to me that I'd be the one that would probably be answering that very differently this week. So anyway, that was the question is, how do you find time to game? Basically what we said. So let me start with our Patreons in Discord. And Glenn says, my wife of 32 years is a registered nurse. From the time we were married, she worked night shift 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. until the kids reached high school. That gave me plenty of time to play my games after the kids were in bed until I went to bed. She made the switch, though, to days, and it still was never an issue to find time. And she has her hobbies, and he has his. Even now with the kids gone, married and out of town, we have our time together, we do our things, and we have our hobby time. Quite often he's in the den, and she's reading, and he's playing his game with music, and they each do their thing, and he feels blessed, and he has a wonderful life with that. So they found a way to make it work, whether it's the work schedule, working around the kids, or just you do your hobby and I do mine, and I think that's a good way to do it.
That's kind of similar to how Sarah and I do it. Yep. I mean, I obviously work from home and all that, so I can, playing is the job, but she goes off a couple days a week to do art stuff.
Yep, I know. My wife likes to read books and things like that, so she'll be up reading books or watching her crime stories. I'm like, I'm gonna slip downstairs and play something. Gus says, I usually play cards and dice when the wife is working and my daughter is in school. So that's another good one there. Turbocharge says, it really depends on whether I'm playing cards and dice or doing a season project on the PC. I generally have a game on my PC most any time I'm on it. And one of my desks is set up for cards and dice. That's kind of the best way to do it. If you have a desk or a little table you can just leave dedicated to that, then you don't have to set up and break down all the time. You can really kind of leave that set up. I had that for a while until I had the flood down here, and now I don't have that dedicated table set up. I mean, I kind of do, but I kind of don't because it's just a situation. So I still break up and sit down every time. But if you can have a dedicated table, you can walk away at any time, which is kind of nice. Right. And it's more a matter of whether I have the energy or not. And here's some health issues. Yeah, that's the other thing, is that sometimes you're just too dang tired to play, And I can usually make the time, even if it's only a half hour here or there. So that is another one. Jeff comes in and says, I work 5 days a week and have nights and weekends free. I'm currently single, no kids, so I have more time to spend gaming, although it varies. If I'm not feeling good, I'll skip a day, kind of like skipping leg day at the gym, I would imagine. But generally trying to get at least 2 hours of gameplay in. No, that's good, 2 hours. That's really good. Yeah. At the moment, he's playing APA baseball and APA football. And he's trying to finish baseball games first and then get one football game in.
It's interesting because the game times for those are so different.
Yeah.
APA baseball, 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And APA football.
2 hours.
Yeah.
2 hours of pure fun, but 2 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
David C. types in, this is a great question as I struggle at different times of the year to have time to play cards and dice games. The only computer-based game I play is Dynasty League Baseball. I'm in 2 draft leagues. 67 and 99 seasons, if you're wondering. And
Okay.
he likes the accountability, camaraderie of playing against actual people. As for cards and dice, I don't play as much as I want. My wife and I have a 4 and a 7-year-old, so at this time of the year, I can only play at night. Yeah.
Sorry.
One day I'd like to introduce them, but they're not there yet. As for my wife, she says, just have fun. My wife does too. I try to show her once in a while. She's like, yeah, I'm going to go read my book.
Yeah.
He says, my job flexibility does allow me to work from home, so there are times while I play when the kids are at home or my wife is working nights. This community, the channels and conversation on this Discord and through email allows me to be more connected to playing even when there are stretches when I can't. Yeah, I'm the same way. If when I went through that stretch this week when I couldn't play, I was still watching other people on YouTube and following along. And that's the great thing about it, is even when you can't play, you can still follow some other people. And he says, I can't thank the collective enough, especially Dave and Ron, for connecting us all together. Thank you, David, for saying that.
Thank you.
Tommy Ballgame, being retired certainly has its advantages. By the way, I'm 66 and feeling great. And if I was Appa, that would be a home run. Gotcha. Okay, that was pretty good. I'll give you that one there, Tommy.
You get a cookie for that.
Yeah, that was pretty good. He has 2 grandsons, 9 and 7, and a 2-year-old granddaughter. Both play baseball, and I will never miss a game or a practice. I'm an early riser and living by myself. I love an early morning game or two. Yeah, I see a lot of people like Tebow. They play in the morning.
Right.
He says it's peaceful.
The house is quiet and cool.
Yeah, it's peaceful. Sun coming up to a new day. I can picture that. I really can. And he only plays Cub full seasons from the late 60s to the early 70s. And so, on a side note, reading the forum here and listening to Digital to Dice can fill the gaps. This hobby will serve you well when you retire. That's what I'm kind of hoping, that I'll get there someday. Dan V says, I retired 3 years ago from 33 years of teaching, but continue to substitute teach because I miss the camaraderie of the staff and the extra money as far as the side job. In addition, I no longer, where are we now? I no longer have the responsibilities of working pretty much and attending meetings. And his kids are now in his early 20s, so he has plenty of time to enjoy his gaming pursuits on a regular basis.
Nice.
That said, I also find time for family, friends, and other hobbies, one of which is covering football for a website during the fall. So, yeah, and he says he also tries to work out regularly at his age as well. So, yeah, that's a good one right there, too, is that, and that's a big thing, too. You got to make time for family and friends and other things, too. You need to. That's what makes it all work. It really does.
It can't be just...
Yeah, if gaming comes first, and it's gonna make it tough for everything else. So if everything else is like nice and oiled and everyone's happy, then you can get more gaming, and I find it's a nice balancing act. So that
speaking of covering other things,
okay,
I see that one of the Cyclones is in Salt Lake City at their prospect camp.
I did see that. Yeah,
and I saw that another one, maybe someone that you covered, was actually drafted late by Tampa this year.
No kidding, yeah. Those might have been a few years before me. There was a couple I see that going to college and stuff, but I did see that Cyclones, the Northern Cyclones are a junior hockey team that I do the play-by-play for, by the way. Or at least I have been the last few years. More steady recently. I filled in the last few years. But, yeah, so they got a couple guys that have moved on and trying out for NHL, so good for them. Happy to see that. Happy to see that. But yeah, so that's kind of our Discord. That's our Patreon that responded to that question there. So, Ron, why don't you take it over from our Facebook group?
All right. So from the Digital to Dice Facebook page, Tebow, wonder who he is. He's a Hall of Famer. Everyone gets 24 hours. So when folks says I don't have time or when I retire, I'll start that replay. What they really mean, it's not a priority. And when I retire, I'll make it a priority. I kind of feel bad for folks who feel this way. I hope they have more to their life than work, eat, and sleep. And no one is guaranteed a 20 to 30-year retirement to enjoy life. That's why I enjoy each day to its fullest. I am 52. I work hard full-time and do things with my wife and family and make gaming a prioritization for me and have completed a ton of games his entire adult life. Being married 25 years, our stories are kind of similar except for he's got kids. And both kids are good, hardworking people. And, when we talked about this before, he gets up at 5:30 in the morning to do that.
And he gets his gaming in, yeah. Some people love that, to get up nice and early. It's quiet. The world's not awake yet. A little bit of sun coming up, and it's just peaceful. It really is. I I like to play late at night. That's my time. Late at night, it's dark out, it's quiet. People have gone to bed, everyone's settled in, and that's when I enjoy playing because dogs are asleep. No one's waking up. Everyone's like settling down, and they're rolling up the street. We used to say we were rolling up the sidewalks at night. Is what we used to say.
Right.
And so for me, I enjoy playing late at night. That's my thing.
Also, he's one of the rare people that I know of that was able to game or chose to game while their kids are growing up. We're finding that, oh yeah, I did this as a teenager or until X happened, and then life got in the way, and people coming back to it in their 50s and 60s.
Yep.
So good for him. John says 1,000% he has grandchildren, children, wife, full-time job, lots going on, but gaming is my hobby and get away from it all. It's either your hobby or you're not. Nick says usually early AM or late PM. However, I always take my Dyson Teams notebook paper in backpack wherever you go. With pictures of charts on your phone, I can play a game or two anytime, anywhere. I have some free time, whether that's on my lunch, traveling, etc. Now, I hadn't thought of that, but yeah, depending on what you play, in a game like Appa, where a lot of it's, you play enough of it's all memorized anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could easily do that. Another John says, he says he's a rising contributor. I don't know about that. Primarily in the early morning with coffee. It motivates me to get out of bed. Otherwise, I'd push snooze 18 times and oversleep. Also, after work, helps me wind down from the day. There's something to be said about late Friday or Saturday night. It makes me feel like when I was a kid in the summer, especially if it's cool enough to turn off the AC and open the patio door and windows. Just sitting at the family room table with all the lights off, except for the one I'm using. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. A lot of these people are setting the environment that they play in, too. They're setting the tone.
Gary says, so well put in regards to Friday and Saturday. I spent the past 10 years working 6 to 7 days a week, being able to relax now on a weekend night and enjoy my hobby. It's that carefree feeling you had because there was no school that next morning. All right. Ryan says advanced prep if I have a little bit of time in the day, putting the lineups in order, filling out the score sheet, etc. That way I can sit down and roll when it's game time. Speaking of score sheets, throw a curveball at you here.
All right.
Ron Bernier has taken, I believe he's working from 1956 forward with Inside Pitch Baseball, and will have pre-filled out score sheets on his website for a fee. And so if you buy a season of those, all the Inside Pitch ratings will be on the score sheet. They're broken down by month. So if you buy a PDF season, print them out as you go, then they're broken down by month, and it will tell you not only are the ratings filled in, but it will tell you who the teams use for their starting pitchers for the next few games in the season that I saw, so you don't accidentally use someone out of the bullpen that you got starting in 2 days.
Oh, nice.
And wreck for that. So if you're interested in that, baseballsimresearch.com, and if you play Inside Pitch, so perfect for those of you who do that. So,
baseballsimresearch.com.
All right. So Craig says, I'm currently replaying the 2023 MLB season. I just started, so a long way to go. I've been struggling with the time aspect as well. I'm finding that if I talk to myself about the matchup during the day at work, it gets me excited to play when I get home. Yeah, obviously looking forward to whatever the matchup is. But there are days when it doesn't pop into my head, and then when I get home, I find excuses not to play. Long story longer, just try and think about playing. There's no due date to have a project done, Craig. If it takes you however long you want to do, it's at your own pace. But you are right. If you know you got something coming up and you go, oh, yeah, this will be cool. Robert says, I tend to play later at night after the family goes to bed. I'm trying not to reread the ones that were from the Discord. Tom says, with family responsibilities, I can't really make time. I just have to find pockets here and there. I try to include my kids, so it's a family thing and not a where's dad kind of thing. I have to keep my replay small in scope For example, I'm debating doing an 84 or 77 replay or have to focus on one or two teams and let Digital Diamond Baseball fast play the rest. Even with a small scope, it'll still probably take you 2 years to do it. Again, we talked about it earlier. It's tough with families because you have to be so involved with them. But even if it's just one or two, an hour a week, it's still playing.
Yeah. Well, the pockets things make sense, too, because there's times when I'm gaming all the time and I have plenty of time and I'm doing it. And then there's times like now where I'm doing none,
Right.
And so you kind of have the ebbs and flows of life get in the way. And
absolutely.
But like Tebow said, you have to make the time. It has to be a priority. Not that you need to put something else aside for that, but, I've just been sitting there watching a lot of TV lately just because I've just been, too busy and beat up from other things like removing trees. So I just don't have the energy to set up. So I just been watching some TV. But normally I don't watch any TV and I do the gaming. That's kind of how my normal thing goes when things are normal.
Bill says once all the priorities are done, then there's time. Gary says I work from home. I can relate to that, Gary. But even when I didn't, it was usually late at night or early in the morning. But I'm primarily a PC gamer, so it's as easy as sitting at the PC or the laptop. Jeff says being retired anytime I want, unless the grandkids are over. Brad says precisely, I'm so also blessed to be married to an avid reader. She's very happy, maybe too much so, to have me go in the spare bedroom and game while she reads. Late afternoon and early evening are the sweet spots, early AM if I can't sleep. Bernie says, never had time until I retired. Mud Kivitz. For about 20 minutes in the early morning before anyone wakes up and I got to go to work. Appa Eric says, I still work full time. So his gaming time is 6 to 7:30 in the morning, including the weekend. And again, 9 to 10:30 a couple nights a week. And when I travel with Appa, that's a great portable game. So the game comes with you. Matt says, as with any choice, I have to sacrifice other things to play. That usually means my interest in games ebbs and flows. A dedicated space that I can leave out and get little sections of times is vital. Mike says the struggle is real. Real-life challenges always find a way to disrupt my gaming time. Late evenings or early morning seem to work best. Next one I won't read. John says, my work starts at 7 a.m. Generally, I get up at 6. Wow. Feed the pets, get some coffee, play a few games before work. I work from home, so it's a simple slide over to my work computer and play a game or two during lunch. Then when work's over, depending on stuff I need to do at home, and slide back into game mode. Derek says, for me, it's honestly whenever the opportunity arises. Being a college professor, the time I devote to my job varies from week to week. Some weeks are busier than others. Same thing on the home front. When my daughter's away at college, when my wife has other equipment or other commitments. Don't read so fast, Ron. I have more time for gaming. Mm-hmm. Todd says, I have the perfect situation. I work from 4:30 p.m. to 2:30 the next morning. Wow. I get home around 3. I play most nights after work. On the weeks I watch TV with my wife or we go do something, after that, I'm free to game. She's a gamer as well, mostly on the computer. Wow. So he's got anywhere from 25 to 30 hours free time that he can play. Brad says, I make the time for the podcast when he mows his lawn.
Nice.
I think we read that one. Jamie kind of answers this the way I probably would have answered it too. Easy. I pretty much replaced watching real sports with playing sports games.
Yeah, that's another good one. Instead of spending, 2 or 3 hours watching something on TV, you spend 2 or 3 hours down there playing.
It's true because we talked about this before. I really don't watch a lot of sports on TV, but I play a lot, and it gets the same thing. It really, really does. I think we read Corey's already. Kevin says, I mentioned another response in a different form that you play Saturday mornings while in the car. He's playing Appa in his picture there while his son is at karate. Andrew games after work, gets off at 4 and on his feet for 8 hours. Putting your feet up helps me relax. And sometimes in the middle of the night, it helps with anxiety attacks.
Hold on 1 second there. When I play these games, it lowers my blood pressure and anxiety. Because,
sure.
Not all the time. Sometimes, you just got too much going on. And I find that if I'm really wound up, then I don't play. But on the normal times, normal days when I can get and play, yeah, it helps. It really does.
Absolutely.
Because it takes your mind off things, and that's what anxiety is. It's thinking too much. So if you can play something, and especially cards and dice, and you're thinking about the game, you're not just clicking buttons. I'm rolling the dice, and you have to decide what happens and make it happen and write it down. Your mind is now consumed with the game and something very enjoyable, than something in the back of your mind saying, oh, I gotta do this, or I gotta do that, or tomorrow's this, or tomorrow's that, or, and just stressing out about the day-to-day things of life. So it really does. And we did a whole show on gaming and mental health at one point, I think.
And I think there are times, especially depending on what you have set up, where you just kind of zone out and you go through. And in baseball, you kind of, you're not hitting a zoom button, but you're kind of doing that in your head until you get runners on base. And then things kind of slow down. Then you pay attention to how to handle that. So absolutely. And the pesky Pole says he plays late at night because he's got a handful.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So that was from our Digital to Dice Facebook group.
So on Dave Little Sports Sims and Replays, which is over 4,000 members.
Nice job, Dave.
Incredible. Joseph says, I'm retired now. If I've read this before, or if it was because I can't remember who's who. So it's not much of an issue for me these days, but before that, I found the single most important factor to be having a place to keep a game set up 24/7. And just being able to sit down at odd moments and play, even a few innings or a period, made a big difference. Now that you're kind of settled in for the summer, would you set your table back up? I mean, because that's the thing. You can just kind of go to a point and stop.
Well, I have the table of myself personally. I have a second table over here. So my Studio B is where I stream all the games. I guess I could leave it set up on Studio B, but then, I couldn't really have it here while I recorded the show or if I wanted to play something else. So I'm thinking, I do have a table over here, but it's got my app for football season and a couple of the games I bought. And so it's kind of become a storage table. But I guess if I wanted to, I could clear that off and leave games on there to play. But what my thing is that what I like to do is the table I'm on now that you see me when I stream on YouTube is as I have my monitor right there, and I like to put YouTube on or something on and watch that while I play my game. Or
right.
When I play like APBA hockey or Hockey Bones, I have the helper going, or any kind of football game. Right. So I need to be on this particular table because that's where my computer is. Now, if there's something that I don't need a computer for, or it's just kind of a onesie-twosie, then I could probably set it up on the other side. But, so I use the computer a lot, for the helpers and things for my bigger projects. Digital Diamond is here. So I almost have to really play here on my table. Whereas before, I think I had it set up when I was playing Hockey Bones, and I could just play offline. But now I have the helper, so
Can't you do that, though, the laptop? I mean, that's all Excel, right?
I could. It just setting things up. It's so much easier the way that I have it set up here.
I wonder if you did Digital Diamond on a laptop, if it would sync to both computers. Something you should ask Mark.
No, it doesn't.
You can't?
I think
Okay.
you would have to back up the file and then
thumb wheel and a thumb drive or something like that.
physically bring it over. I think is how that would work.
Richie agrees with Joe. It's a big one for him, even when you don't have it quote unquote set up. I have all my charts on my desk ready to go so I can grab the two teams and play a game when I have the time. I wonder if there was a game that you really loved, that if you could just kind of laminate that and have it on a table. I know for us, because we play so many different games, that certainly would not work for us.
Well, that's why you would get the mats made up, right? You could play on a mat.
That's true. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. They'll have mats made up, and I did that back in the days. I took a couple of my football games and put some of the results from the charts on the mat that I made. Now, it just so happens I don't really play those particular games anymore, so I got a new football mat. But yeah, I mean, you could
the mat.
design a mat and just, a place to put your cards and, and the whole bit. And, you can have a baseball, football, whatever you want. Yeah. So you can design a mat to do that now. And it's nice and quiet for rolling dice too. And let me tell you, the mats, like moving cards around on a mat is really nice. It really is.
Oh, I bet. Sure.
It really is. Like when I played the Yappa baseball last night, I was like sliding, I slid out Eckersley and slid in the Oriole pitcher, just moving around. It was a piece of cake. It was nice. So Inked Gaming is where I get my mats. I think most people go Inked.
Is there a
Gaming.
website for that?
Yeah, Inked, INKED, gaming, inkedgaming.com. And they have generic stuff too. I picked up the generic football field. It's just one they had in stock.
Nice.
You can design your own and zip it off to them. For this one here, I just wanted generic football because it's a nice backdrop for a lot of different things, and that's what works for me. But they have everything over there. I think they got a generic hockey rink. They obviously have a lot of space and galaxies and Dungeons and Dragons and anything you want over there. And anything you want to design, just send over the image and they'll print it for you. So
nice.
A little plug for them because they've done some work for me, and I really enjoy it.
Edward says, I'm of similar mind as Joe. He retired last week. He says I'm retiring tomorrow, but since this was from last week, he retired last week.
Good for you.
Congratulations. So he'll have more time to play with the time that he'll be freeing up. Right now, he's trying to get everything better organized in a place where I can get to the games and cards quickly and get rolling. I probably have 100 different seasons of about 10 different baseball games, plus a couple football, basketball, and golf, and I'll be filling a lot of my time with games I've only been able to play sporadically. It'll be easier to do knowing exactly where everything is, having the storage boxes clearly labeled. He's getting there. We're going to send you to Pittsburgh. We're going to send you to some Gillies Thibault house.
Oh, he'll show you how to organize your games?
Show you how to organize your games. And so a couple of people congratulate. So congratulations. Hopefully, you got some good times left to play.
Yeah.
But organization is important. You behind you because have everything pretty much in order, right?
I do. I have some things over here on the shelf. I bought boxes actually from a company that sold these blank boxes, and I put a lot of my print and play games in the boxes so I can get right at them. I do have another cabinet where I keep some of my my payoff pitch stuff and my season ticket things that I printed. So I get little cabinets all over the place, and I pretty much know where everything is without being total chaos. Like I got my Appa behind me. I have my season ticket over here on this shelf, and I have my payoff pitch on this shelf. So it's pretty much organized like that.
Awesome. Ben says, blessed to be retired and to have a wonderful, understanding wife. She even bought me a table for his gaming. That's
nice,
cool.
Nice.
It means that he has plenty of time to roll dice. Ronnie says, not me, my cousin and I set aside one day of the week minimum to get together to play a few hours. Of course, we're both retired or semi-retired, so it isn't a big deal. I suppose, we'd see co-op projects, that would be the way to do it.
Yeah.
To go, if you were really wanting to tackle the big project, to be playing against someone else, even if because eventually, even if you both have distinct styles, the game pretty much dictates how you play, and game situation dictates that too. So you're never going to figure each other out completely. Matt says, have 2 young kids and am a teacher. Wake up about 3 a.m. every morning to get a workout for an hour and 15 minutes. Grab his breakfast and head to the garage to get some games in before the kids wake up, whether it's summer or the school year. And maybe you can get in a game in at night after the kids go to bed, but you're usually in bed pretty early. Again, another one for the early morning gaming.
Well, when I get up that early, I'm junked by noon. I just kind of how my schedule is. And there's a few times a week that I have to get up, not that early, but I'll get up at 5-ish, and I'm pretty junked by noon, 1 o'clock.
No, I can't do it that early. If I'm productive and, play, if I'm going to do anything like that, unless I'm wired for sound or unless we're doing something, I really got to be playing before like 5 in the afternoon, because at night because I get up early, I'm kind of junk.
See, my thing is my best times for me to be productive is late at night. Everything I've ever done, this podcast was me staying up late at night planning it out. My hockey league was up late at night, 12 o'clock, midnight, 1 o'clock, making notes. That's just when my brain kicks into gear, is late at night. So for me, playing at midnight is probably the best time for me to play, because I'm not an early. When I get up in the morning, it takes a long time for me to get rid of the fog, so I just can't just jump out of bed and play.
I'm starting the back of my eyelids at midnight. David overseas in the UK says he gets up at 4 in the morning on the weekend. He's got 5 hours in before the rest of the house stirs. David, oh, by the way, I don't know if we've mentioned this on the show or not, but I bought the Replay World of Athletics, the old Lamborn game. It's offered on sportsreplays.net. I love it.
Nice.
Absolutely love it. And at some point, I've done a couple of videos and screwed them both up, so they'll never see the light of day except for being on a backup on a hard drive. But trust me, great stuff. Another David says, I try and remain as antisocial as possible. Okay. Christopher says he doesn't. Kevin, there's two Kevins here. First, Kevin number 1 says, I'm retired now as well, so it's not so hard. It does take longer to play the games. I'm just not as sharp or as fast as he used to be. When he was young and working, he could find the time at night to play, but it was far more limited. Again, there's no rush about how long it takes to play. I mean, we talk about taking 20 to 30 minutes to play baseball games. Look, if it takes you an hour, it takes you an hour. The point is to A, play, and B, have fun. And last but not least, Kevin number 2 says, I get it in when and where I can. I've even taken to playing in my car while waiting for your kids at karate, and et cetera, et cetera. Coined dishes make for good dice trays. I'd be afraid to be losing stuff in the car.
Yeah.
That would be.
Well, see, this is where the Strat Max baseball game comes into play.
Absolutely.
That's what that's designed for. Is you're sitting in your car and you want to play a game, you pull out your phone and you can play, whether you get it in a full game or not. That's what that's designed for, is travel, being on the road, on the subway, in your car, as long as you're not driving, or maybe you're in the passenger seat or the back seat. That's when you can get your cards and dice in with Baseball Max. That's exactly what that is designed for. And you're not losing dice in the car on that point,
Will that work on what I'm trying to think of? It's not the DS anymore. What's the name of the new Nintendo
the Switch?
handheld?
The Switch.
Thank you, the Switch.
Yeah.
Now that would be interesting now, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Is there a web component to that?
That I'm not sure of. That would be interesting, because I know the Steam Deck, they have one that's very similar to the Switch. I wonder if you could get on the internet with that.
Because, when we were little or younger, we're both too old really for the Game Boy part of being a kid in the backseat of the car with that. But, my buddies had the old Mattel games. You'd sit there in the backseat of the car playing those. So I wonder if that, if you could play it on a Switch or something there along the phone.
As long as you get to the internet and the browser was compatible with it.
Goodness. There's 5G towers in pretty much any populated area of the country now, so it's not like you're going to be losing speed. Interesting thought. Just kind of. But yeah.
So a lot of good feedback here.
Yes.
That's for sure. There
was a lot of people playing early morning.
Yeah, there was certain. It seemed to be kind of pretty much evenly divided between the people who get up early before everyone gets up and gets in their gaming, so they don't get in anybody's way, and then they take care of their duties, and then the people who wait for everybody to go to bed and then play that during that, Then there's some lucky people who are retired and have things going pretty well at the house, and it just allows them plenty of time to play. So it was very fun listening to how people find the time. How do you do it? In your particular situation.
Jamie's point of being, it's kind of replaced watching real sports. So you're putting in. It's not that. I don't think Jamie has anything against real sports, and I don't really have anything against real sports. But you're getting the same involvement in whatever sport is, but you feel more of a part of it.
Yeah. What I do sometimes is I'll have it either on the radio or, streaming the game, or maybe I'll have a TV on the side. I think that I was doing that with the hockey playoffs, is I would have it on the TV just off to the side over here, and I'd be playing my game, And then if something happened, I'd stop and watch the TV for a minute. But I wasn't sitting there being glued to the TV or glued to the radio. Sometimes I like just to kind of stream the game, too. I'll put something on and just have it on in the background while I play. You know, obviously, if I'm streaming, I can't do that. But if I'm just kind of playing myself, it's fun. And for me, a lot of times, if someone in the community is playing a game on YouTube, or had played a game on YouTube, I'll put their video on and watch them play while I play. And I think that's the best way to do it, because it's you're playing a game, they're playing a game. It's more relatable that way. It's just you feel like you're part of it, even though you're not in the same room, and that's what makes it kind of fun.
Exactly.
But yeah, so some terrific responses there. A lot of responses. Holy cow. A lot of responses, responses to that. And that's what we like to do once in a while. Just kind of throw out the feelers in the community. And, and how do you guys do it? And sometimes we talk about it, with you guys, and sometimes we don't. But it's always nice to just get some feedback and just, absorb what's going on in the community. Right. And that way there we can let everyone else know, how's what people are doing. And I think it's just like a little fireside chat. It's like everyone, hey, how do you do it? Here's how I do it. And then sometimes we get some ideas from other people and what they do in the whole bit. But it's just nice to see, because a lot of us play alone so much and by ourselves so much, that it's nice to know that there are other people out there having some of the same issues or working around some of the same things that we have. So, and
there's also Steve Tate is now believed, the third season of the baseball league and a football league and a basketball league. So there's actually, more of that now in the community of draft leagues too. Now you're not necessarily playing the games; it's someone else playing the games. But yeah, it really is, king of your own castle type stuff. And
yep, it is. All righty, shall we wrap up this one here?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we'll bring the 3 stars back next week, just because we mentioned so many people here. So you're all kind of the stars this week. Anybody that added to the feedback of the show, thank you so much. So we'll wrap things up here in episode 230. Here we go.
Yes.
You've been listening to the Digital to Dice podcast as we ask the community the question, how do you find time to game? Get some terrific answers from everybody, from our Patreon users on Discord to our Facebook group, and also Dave Little's Facebook group as well. Thank you for chiming in on that. Ways to get a hold of us, digitaltodice.com is the website. 978-751-DICE is the text line if you'd like to send us a text. And I got some terrific texts from people asking about the wife, and thank you all for sending that in. That was very nice. And I got some messages too from other areas. Thank you so much for asking. It really means a lot to me. digitaltodice@yahoo.com is the email. And over on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/digitaltodice. I think that covers it all.
Yes, it does. Goodness gracious.
All righty. I almost forgot how to do this. It's been so long since we did one with all the craziness,
Yeah, a little more regular now. But yeah, now that she's on the mend and that, and it might be October before the fire alarm system is fully installed in here, but, we'll get it eventually.
So fun times for both of us here.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye-bye.